I'm going to make a pretty quick video of taking out the spark plugs to your 5.4 3-valve Triton engine. I've got a 2004 F150. It's got the notorious Triton engine in it that I'm sure you've probably already heard of. This is what happens to your plugs. Right now, I've got about 148,000 miles on the truck. I've got it just this past winter, and I put about 10,000 miles on it since then. And I started getting sputtering at low idling, idling out a couple times, and made my way to the spark plugs. And after doing this, I don't think they've ever been replaced. So just a quick video. If you're going through this for the first time, like I was, hopefully this helps someone save some time. So basically your spark plugs are going to snap off, and these are going to be impacted down into the head bore where your spark plug goes, and that's all you're going to be staring at. So I want to quickly go over, I use the Lyle Tool and I also use the OEM. And going into this, I had a couple of buddies who went through this that praised the Lyle Tool. And the Lyle Tool worked, but only for so long. And I managed to pick up all the slack with the OEM tool. So this is what happens to your plugs. So if you're doing these for the first time, clear your schedule and have a fridge full of beer or liquor. But don't be, you're going to probably want to walk away a couple times. Walk away, think of some new ideas, sleep on it. But it's definitely not a quick maintenance job. So real quick, the two tool kits that I used, this is the Lyle, and basically is what it does is there's a guide that goes down into, it's got a pin in there. This guide goes down into your spark plug bore, your head bore, and is what you do, you thread this into the guide there, and it pushes that pin, and it pushes the porcelain out of the metal sleeve that it's sitting in the old spark plug, and it exposes the top of that metal. And so once you do that, you take that all out and you slide in your guide, and then from there you slide your thread through the guide down into the exposed metal in the spark plug now, and it's double threaded, so there's a nut on that end, and you basically thread it out and you slowly ease the impacted spark plug tip out. Great tool. It worked like an absolute charm for the first two plugs. As you saw, I had to do all eight. All eight plugs broke on me in one way or another. And I've heard most people say they did this and they only broke one or two. Some of my buddies said that. All eight broke on me. So this tool worked. Oh, I forgot about the noisy air compressor. This tool worked perfectly for two impacted spark plugs. Worked beautifully, but the problem was the very fine threads ate away. And I was trying to take my time, going nice and easy. After two spark plugs, as you can see, the threads were just chewed. They wouldn't bite into another one. So I started thinking of the other kits that are offered. And this is the OEM. And is what it is. You use, it's a Loctite adhesive kit if you only have porcelain stuck in your bore. If you still have that metal jacket like the Fords do, then you have a tap. So I found this to work beautifully. You still run into the same problem as the Lyle, to where the tap, you can see the threads on the end of that tap are just grounded down. I did the rest of the 6 with this tap. And so as long as you can just keep replacing a tap that goes in this guide, I mean, you can do this indefinitely. So is what I ended up doing. This has a guide that goes in. You send the tap in first and you thread it. Tap comes out, and then from there you screw in to what you tapped, and then kind of like the Lyle tool, you've got a washer and nut that you just crank on this end of it, and it slowly brings the spark plug out through that guide. So I found this tool to work beautifully, but just like the Lyle tool, the threads are eventually going to wear down. I think these things, I mean, this is my first time doing this, and I have limited experience doing this. I think that if I would probably use this tool first, but I would definitely use this tool, especially if you can get a backup die. Like I said, I did 6 with this one, and if I had known this right off the bat, I would have just used this right off the bat, but it would have been beautiful if you had a backup die to use, because maybe use one for each side and it would work, and it would have worked beautifully. There was one spark plug where I had to dig deeper to get some of those higher threads on it, and it made me really nervous because that was my last resort, was doing this. So this tool worked, in my opinion, better than the Lyle. But both are good tools. But I guess walking away from this, if you're going to do this for the first time, no matter which one you choose, it would really be helpful if right off the bat you had at least a spare. You had at least a spare tap, and you can get these by themselves on Amazon. I've looked. You can buy just these. I think they're $20 to $25, but these have a shorter life than the tap. So if you're going to use the Lyle and you're breaking plugs left and right, it's good for 1 or 2. Works beautifully for 1 or 2, but once you start doing more, those threads just chew away. Absolutely chew away. Can't do anything about it. So no matter what tool you're using, my biggest thing walking away from this, if I knew ahead of time, if I had either a couple extra of the Lyle taps or 1 extra of the OEM tap, I would have saved myself a lot of time. So hopefully this helps someone. Save some time. I did a lot of running around figuring all this out. So good luck.